What's this? Charges against Alec Baldwin could be refiled as forensic report shows trigger on gun used in Rust shooting had to be pulled. On today's episode of No Shit.
Ooh. See, originally I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and saying, okay, maybe he just, cocked the hammer back and let the hammer slide and lost control of the hammer.
It's a reproduction revolver. It's got a transfer safety bar. Can't do that.
Wait, how could he even... How could he even hold a gun after he cut his thumbs off?
Wait, what?
This is what happened to him in one of his movies, is it?
No, South Park.
Somewhere.
Like he cuts off his thumbs because he keeps tweeting homophobic stuff and gets bitter, which uploads his thoughts to the internet. Yeah, and he's like, I had a really good sandwich made by two up in Chelsea.
Yeah.
Jesus. So will I start on the reading here?
If you want.
Okay. Independent testing on the weapon used in the fatal 2021 shooting on the set of the film Rust shows the trigger had to be pulled. The gun fired normally and it did not malfunction. According to a report filed in court, raising the possibility charges could be refiled against actor Alec Baldwin. The fired evidence cartridge is the consequence of a normal hammer fall from the fully cocked position of the hammer. The report compiled by Forensic Science Services of Arizona states. The report was filed as part of a defense motion on behalf of the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who is charged with tampering with the gun used in the shooting, as well as 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Baldwin has maintained he pulled back the gun's hammer as far as he could without cocking the gun. Hold on a second.
Baldwin got let off scot-fucking-free, but the armorer is still facing charge. My fucking
had to be at fault.
God. That's embarrassing.
Remember, everybody, it's the gun that commits the crime, not the gun holder.
Yes, all those rabid revolvers running around the outback randomly.
Yeah, I think there was a song made by some little fat 4th grade kid. I was not the bullet. I was not the gun. I was not the trigger. Don't blame me, son.
Oh, God.
I mean, and being familiar with revolvers, I mean, it is theoretically possible for to pull the hammer back and the sear is kind of messed up and it'll just go forward on its own.
Yeah, but that shouldn't happen
the fact that they've
on
done
a gun with a transfer bar.
Yeah.
If it was the if it was the original gun, it could happen all fucking day long. Which is where the thing about cowboys carrying on an empty chamber came from. But on a reproduction with a transfer safety bar, no. In fact,
exactly. And that's the thing that bothers me is the people that have been reporting on this clearly are not familiar with modern production revolvers.
Exactly. And here's some additional...
I honestly wouldn't have known about the transfer bar if Bezic hadn't just mentioned it, so yeah.
Right, so anyway, and so here's some additional reading for everyone. Brendan Herrera has done a test on an identical gun, testing Alec Baldwin's revolver theory. So there's some additional reading for all you guys. Check that out later.
For congressional candidate.
Yes. Congressional candidate Brendan Herrera.
Wait, if Alec Baldwin originally got off, who was prosecuting him? Thomas Binger?
Yes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh God, yeah.
So I'm just going to grab that URL for everyone.
Ooh, zing.
So yes, there's some additional reading for you later.
Let's see. Baldwin has maintained he pulled back the gun's hammer as far as he could without cocking the gun and released the hammer, but did not pull the trigger. CNN's calls to him for comment on the report were not immediately returned. Go figure. The October 2021 shooting on a New Mexico film set killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins and injured director Joel Souza. They were struck by a live round of ammunition fired from a prop gun held by Baldwin while rehearsing a scene, officials have said.
Not a prop gun. That really pisses me off because a prop gun is one that fires a very specific shortened cartridge. This is a gun that was used as a prop.
It sounds like it's a bastardization of terms where Hollywood uses a stupid term compared to the rest of the world. In Hollywood, speak, prop gun means a gun that belongs to the properties department. So it can include anything. So it's a completely useless term. But it was clearly a real fucking gun.
Yep.
They could have just left out the word prop there.
Oh yeah, and typically, again, because I have knowledge with this, if you've got like a semi-auto that's not really it's called a blank firing only non-gun. So it has a fixed obstruction in the barrel because it fires a weakened round, so it can force operation.
Okay.
For revolvers, typically, because it's firing a black powder empty blank. So it has both the report is correct for the audio and also has the muzzle flash, which you want for that time period firearms. So
the second sentence of this paragraph is the really important one. So if you want to stop after that, on.
Okay. The new testing by examiners in New Mexico was conducted using a replacement hammer, trigger sear, and bolt, according to their report, rather than the gun's original components. The weapon, broken during tests run by the FBI, convenient, and inoperable when Forensic Science Services got it, then was returned to operable condition. Oh, so they had to make it work again. Interesting.
What I think is really telling...
And that's going to get thrown right out if he gets charged anyway.
What I think is really telling is that the FBI battered it so badly it broke and still could not get it to fire.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it sounds like to me, because it sounds to me like like the testing that Brendan Herrera did, is they beat on the back of the fucking hammer with everything they could get while the gun was in a vice and couldn't get it to go off.
Mm-hmm. And
possibly, yeah.
There's an ironic parallel here. Remember that couple in Missouri, the McCloskeys, I think?
Oh, yes.
Where the woman's pistol was basically inoperable, and they fixed it, and then they charged her?
Yeah, then they fixed it, then charged of having an operable firearm. After they fixed it. Yeah.
What?
I thought she was holding a fucking lighter, to be honest.
Might as well have been.
Yeah. No, apparently, the gun had the firing pin reversed, so it wouldn't work.
Yep.
And then the firearms lab fixed it so they could fire it, and then charged her based on that.
Jesus, cunts.
I don't think there are words for how retarded that is.
No, yes, there are. I just said
it. Just said it.
Every time we hear shit like this, it's like, maybe the defund the police guys aren't going far enough. Whole legal system out the fucking window. So, again.
Yep.
Yeah. The way I've phrased it is like this: the next Republican president needs to do to the bureaucracy what Elon Musk did to Twitter.
We need a return to the spoils system in the United States, which means, if you're not familiar with it, it means you fire everyone in the federal government, and they either have to reapply or be reappointed by the new executive.
Yeah.
Be careful, or else you'll get JFK'd.
I'm not running for office.
Based.
Yeah. Marcus says...
Marcus gives a little... Yep, go ahead.
The woman's gun had been rendered inoperable because the husband had used it as a prop in a court case. That's an interesting choice. But it was inoperable.
Okay. Involuntary manslaughter charges against Baldwin, lodged in January, were dismissed in April, when special prosecutors Carl Morrissey and Jason Lewis said charges could be refiled. A final decision has not been made, Morrissey told CNN on Wednesday. The charges against Alec Baldwin were dismissed without prejudice because a possible malfunction of the gun significantly affects causation with regard to Baldwin, not with regard to Gutierrez. Okay. If it is determined that the gun did not malfunction, charges against Mr. Baldwin will proceed with a final charging decision within the next 60 days, prosecutors said in a June court filing. So they're coming up to that deadline.
Yeah.
If a new charge is filed against Baldwin, the actor's defense team likely would focus on the structural integrity of the gun at the time of the shooting. Although Alec Baldwin repeatedly denies pulling the trigger, given the tests, findings, and observations reported here, the trigger had to be pulled or depressed sufficiently to release the fully cocked or retracted hammer of the evidence revolver, the report states. If the hammer had not been fully retracted to the rear and were to slip from the handler's thumb without the trigger depressed, the half-cock or quarter-cock notches in the hammer should have prevented the firing pin from reaching any cartridge in the firing chamber. From an examination of the fired cartridge case and the operationally restored evidence revolver, this fatal incident was the consequence of the hammer being manually retracted to its fully rearward and cocked position, followed at some point by the pull or rearward depression of the trigger, the report said. The only conceivable alternative to the foregoing would be a situation in which the trigger was already pulled or held rearward while retracting the hammer to its full cock position. Although unlikely and totally contrary to the normal operation of these single-action revolvers, such improper handling would result in the discharge of a live cartridge.
Okay, I have a couple of comments about that sentence. Although unlikely and totally contrary to the normal operation of these single-action revolvers. 1, have you seen a fucking Western? 2, have you ever seen a revolver?
Yeah.
What do you mean contrary to normal operation? It's a fucking single-action revolver.
That is a very strange phrasing. It's like, and it's like nobody. It's something that you would encounter with somebody who's never really handled revolvers.
Yeah, that's someone who's never even seen a Western. Like, how do they think that fanning the pistol in the Westerns works? Well, you hold on. Let me explain how fanning the hammer works. The trigger is pulled or held rearward while retracting the hammer to its full cock position with the opposite hand and then releasing. That's how fanning the fucking the hammer works in a single-action revolver.
Yep.
What a phenomenally
it's highly inaccurate
sentence.
But it's like, and you know, I've done that. You know, I've had situations firing blanks too, where it's like, yep, here we go. We're gonna have some fun because we got to burn through these rounds. And
I mean,
yeah, it's just
why wouldn't you?
It's maddening.
If I had
ammo's expensive.
Well, yes, but if I had access to an outdoor range and a single action revolver, you bet your fucking ass I'd try fanning it at least once. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. And I'll put this way with firearms. It's like you do it once and you get it out of your system, and then it's like, it's like full auto. You go to a range where you can legally get your hands on one. You have fun with it like once or twice, and it's like, all right, that's expensive. I'm going to go back to semi-auto.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, well,
GTA Marcus makes a good point. Bet these people only watch Marvel movies.
There you go.
Well, I've seen a lot of Marvel movies, and when the superhero is falsely gone after, they submit themselves to the mob.
No. Oh God, you just had to remind me about. Oh God, fuck! I hate Vosh. I hate Vosh so fucking much. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably do get their gun handling information from Black Widow running around with her twin shitty pistols and infinite fucking ammo.
Clint Eastwood's revolver.
If you enjoyed this segment from the Sons of Chardonnay podcast, please consider joining us live exclusively on rumble.com/c/Sons of Chardonnay. A special thanks to our Subscribe Star supporters who you can currently see scrolling past on your screen.